everyone, welcome back to Behind the Seams. And on today's episode, I'm going to talk about some amazing new foam products available to us in this market. Now, I've been experimenting a lot with adding to my armor and my props. I've gotten very good at sewing, some say, but I wanted to branch out and learn some more. So I've been deep diving to the world of foams and thermoplastics, and I'm here to show you a couple of new things available on the market. Now, one thing, if you follow me on Instagram, I love this new product. It's called LED foam. That's what it looks like. It's a very milky white. If those of you who remember milk glass back in the old days, that's kind of its texture. It's basically a light diffuser. Now, LED foam is, just like it says, it's meant to be used with LED lights. Because LED lights do not put off heat, and it will not warp this, but because of the way an LED emanates light with pulses, and it works really great with this light diffuser. This is going to be my bracer for my new Thor build. Hopefully I'm going to debut it later this spring, earlier this summer. What I did to get this nice texture is I took Frog brand painter's tape. You want to use Frog brand just because it sticks a little bit better to porous items without ripping them, whereas regular painter's tape will rip foam. I added the Frog brand painter's tape in the design that I wanted to show through with light. Then I went ahead and added layer and layer and layer of Plastidip. And then I slowly, after I finished all of the silver painting and the detail work, I pulled up the Frog painter's tape, and this is the amazing outcome. Now, I will be backing this with a foil back. It's regular craft foam in black with tin foil, because I'm cheap. It will be backed like this with my lights on the inside. That way the foil will reflect the lights. I'll get a bigger bounce for the light payoff. Other things you can do with the LED foam is, say you want to make a crystal, or you want to make a big gem, but you don't want to 3D print it. You don't want to have to do sculpting and casting, because that's just amazingly expensive. You don't have time, and it's going to end up yellow and gross no matter what. So, many of you have seen my Carmilla build, and I used the LED foam for the gem on the inside. And to get this paint, I used a translucent enamel with an airbrush. Now, you can buy these at your normal craft store, Michael's, Joann's, or AC Moore. They're going to be found over in the model car section. And my airbrush is very inexpensive. I got my airbrush from Harbor Freight. That's what I did with this. So it does look this nice pretty blue and green color. And then when I turn the lights on, it'll glow that nice rainbow color, or however I program my lights to do. If you're low on budget, you can also use nail polish. And many people got a good look at my new wizard book recently. And the pages and the eyes are done with the LED foam. You can see on the inside, I have it all Velcroed in so I can pull it out. Here is the eyes with that backing with the tinfoil on the inside to reflect the light. I have LED strips. Now, these LED strips run on a 5-volt system. And these ones I actually just picked up at the Five Below store. You can get them at Micro Center or Best Buy. We all miss Radio Shack. We all do. And it has a little receiver on the inside. And I have it hooked up to a very inexpensive travel battery. And I have a little remote control. So now you can see the lights changing on and off. And when I close up the book, his name is Bartholomew. He goes with me everywhere. And then my pages will actually change once it's dark in the studio. We'll show a little clip of it when it's all dark and nice. But this foam only comes in 1/4 inch. You can only get it on cosplaysupplies.com. We're going to have a link down in the description box so you can go see that. It's about the same price as regular EVA foam. So when you're thinking about doing a build like this where you want a lighting effect that has a really good payoff, or you want to customize your lighting effect, because with these receivers and the remotes, you can customize using an Arduino unit, using the SOIN units, and you can customize what you want to do. Our friends over at Cowbutt Crunchies did the same thing, but they got their Bilinear, their Thor Bilinear, to do a lightning effect lighting. The codes and everything are readily available online, and this just adds a new, really cool, really safe way to do lighting and battery work within cosplay. Now, as a good trick to this foam, you can sand it. So if you want to get like a beveled edge, you want to like move it around, make it rounder, you can easily sand it. You have to wear a respirator. You cannot. Think of it, it's stiffer than regular EVA foam. So when those particles get around your eyes or in your mouth, it's like inhaling fiberglass half the time. Also, when you're using this and you want that clear milk glass look for a good color payoff with your LEDs, regular glues will discolor it on the edges. You can see right here I have a little bit of discoloration. I had to learn that the hard way. So you have to invest in clear shoe cement. Same thing as barge, but it dries clear. I highly recommend this brand, the Angelus. I'll have a link to their website at the end. It's meant for basically leather shoes and leather work. That's what barge is meant for. It's all the contact cements that we use are meant for. This is highly toxic. Highly toxic. Keep the windows open. Get a good respirator. This is a summertime job. Don't kill your brain cells like I did. But the price point's not that bad. It was about $10 for this little thing, and this got me through an entire suit of armor. So a little bit goes a long way. I did almost all of my Mercy wings and my Mercy bits with this one container. Now, up next on our amazing new foams is something I've known about for a while. It's used in the industry regularly, but it's now available to those of us in the hobby field, and that's L200. Now, L200 is a closed cell foam, so you do not need to heat seal it like you do EVA foam. It's all the cells are already closed off. All you have to do is add heat to form it. That's it. Have a way at painting. That's it. I still use Plastidip just because I'm a perfectionist and I like that nice clear Plastidip. I also have used the XTC that we use on 3D printing on this, and it works out quite well. Now it comes in two sizes, 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. And I highly, highly recommend these for props, for if you're going to cover it in fur. So furries, fursuiting, puppetry, because it's super lightweight. It's about 1/3 of the weight of EVA foam, so it basically weighs nothing. Downsides is that, so when you're working with EVA foam, we've all done these scoring shallow lines with razors or X-Acto knives and then heating it up and it creates designs like etching designs. With this, the opposite happens. If you cut into it and you heat it up, it heals. It's a healing foam. So one way you can use that to your advantage is, say I was working on my Thor helm and I'm using this. What I do is I'll add the layers of barge, because you use regular barge like you do with your EVA foam, and then I'll put the other piece down and I'll use a heat gun and it'll instantly seal itself to each other. So I have to use about 1/4 the amount of barge and it's instantly there. I don't have to sit there and hold it and hope. I don't have to clamp it together like I would EVA foam. Now, L200, here's one of the worst downsides to it. Once you score it, or you injure it, it's there for life. So my two beautiful kittens, I say kittens, they're 15 pounds. They're large cats. Were stepping all over this one day. Now I permanently have paw prints down an entire thing of foam that's never gonna come off. Also with this is that if you do seal it with Plastidip or use rattle can on it, it's going to warp whatever shape you put it in. Because once you add that sealing layer, it's going to constrict and warp the foam because it's very susceptible to being moved and shaped in different ways. if you can make your way out to other places like Foamworks or the Foam Market out in Los Angeles, they have what's called L400 and L600. And that number, like this is L200, L400 is denser, and L600 is even denser. That number denotes how dense and how packed the foam is. One good thing is with this, you can get very good linear shapes and say, this is going to be the other bracer to this one on my Thor build. I wanted it to be very bilinear, very movable. And with this, even with all this paint, I can still move it. Nothing's cracking, like no problems. What I do for all of my armor is I mixed my acrylic paint with a latex base so that it has a bit of a stretch and give to it. And now with this, I'm just going to add grommets down the side and have it lace up like a corset around my arm, and it's good to go. And it weighs a fraction of the price of an EVA foam, which is already super light. Also, the beveled edges you see here, as well as on my LED foam bracer, that's all L200. What you can do is I cut out little tiny little snake bits that are 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, heated them up and rolled them like snakes, and that's exactly how they turn out. So I know a lot of people are going out and buying the dowels, the EVA dowels from Arta or TNT Foamworks. I made all of mine within 20 minutes. So there you go. Also with this is you can get better bilinear shapes. I feel with EVA foam and even with the LED foam, it's that things look very manufactured, very sharp edged. It doesn't look natural. But with this type of foam, because it's so soft and so easily moldable, you can get nice little shapes like this. This is going to be the sides of my Thor. And while I was experimenting, I learned that when you use a hot knife, so like a wood edging knife that heats up, you can actually make fun designs in your L200. This is a copy of my Loki bracer. I really needed to make a Loki bracer that was a much lighter weight than my Warble bracer, just for packing and shipping. I mostly just wearing on my head because I get wicked bad headaches. This weighs like nothing. And once I put the horns in, which are also L200, it's going to weigh maybe 3 ounces. But with just experimenting with the hot knife, got these nice little details on there, and I can't wait to paint this to see what it looks like. So stay tuned. And once again, this is only available on the consumer market at cosplaysupplies.com. Now, one thing that we're super excited about. Recently, I got to talk to the ladies at Arta Wigs Canada, and I got a hold of their Lumens Workshop foam clay, and I've been having a blast. This is like my 4th one I've gone through this season. Since September? Yeah, since September I've used this. It's amazing. It's Play-Doh. It's basically the consistency of Play-Doh. You'll leave it out overnight, and then you have EVA foam bits. Now all of the spikes on my Thor, I set my poor husband up with the foam clay, a cutting mat. I had him go at it, and I had all these amazing spikes by the next day. The skull, the spikes, the horns, and the teeth are all foam clay, and they're all super durable. Once the foam clay dries, it's very rigid, like very, very rigid. If you're not careful, it can break, but once it's dried and cured, it's also heat formable. I love turning it into like little Play-Doh snakes and wrapping it around things like you see on my horns. For details, all of this is foam clay, all of this is foam clay, and a lot of us have been experimenting with these silicone molds. This is a mold made by the Mod Podge company, and we're gonna get like a little detail shot. You can force all of your foam clay into these bits, put it in the freezer for a couple of minutes, pull it out, unmold your foam clay, and leave it out overnight, and you have very detailed tiny bits that are also heat formable. This is another one that I used when working with my Mercy build. She had a lot of feathers everywhere, a lot of like detail pieces. So these are feathers. This is from a clay workshop brand. This was at Michael's in the, where all they have like all that clay building and make your own beads type thing. That's a price point about $7. And it has these really detailed lines. And I was like, that foam clay is not going to get in there. It's not going to do the thing. It did the thing. It did the thing. Hopefully I will have photos of Mercy after this weekend. Katsu was rough on us all. So I can show you what that looks like. Now, downside to foam clay is that foam clay is sticky. It's sticky, sticky, sticky. So I recommend pulling out a whole glob of it, messing it around in your hands and letting it sit for a few minutes and then working with it. It has to get over that blobby gelatinous substance it stays in the container. Also, with this container, you have to keep it in a dry area away from heat and cold. I live in New England. Good luck. I just keep it on a shelf way above. No one can get to it. Doesn't anywhere near a cold vent or a heat vent. Good to go. Also, you cannot use a hot knife on this. It's very toxic. Even when you have a respirator or a window open or even a full face mask, cannot use a heat knife on it. I tried it on some of my Thor spikes. I learned a lesson. And I went through a bottle of Excedrin. Don't do it. Learn from my pain. Now, all this accumulates to, I love mixing mediums. I love sewing and I love armor. My favorite thing to ever see in competitions or when I admire amazing builders is seeing them take a little bit of everything and make one big thing. So, going back to my Carmilla staff. The gem is LED foam. The globe is L200. And between the L200 layers, I have old school Sintra right in it. Those of you that survived Wonderflex and Sintra know what I'm talking about. It's what they make billboard signs with. You can get it at Home Depot, get it on Amazon. It's super inexpensive. That's a good spine for this. This is regular EVA foam, and up here is all foam clay. And the whole thing together equals the top of my Carmilla staff. And it's super lightweight, like it weighs nothing. People are like, how heavy is this? How are you going all over the convention with this? I'm like, well, it weighs maybe like 3 pounds, like maybe. Also down here and in the cracks, one good thing that foam clay is amazing for is filling in crevices and cracks. So I have a nice even joint here that I did cover in gems, but that's an aesthetic thing. And everything comes together to also make my book and my Mercy wings. These are the pauldrons that are a base L200. I have craft foam and then even more craft foam. So you can always mix and match. Things I've learned that I want to share with you is if you want a very hard shape armor, I highly recommend getting the L200 and covering it in Worbla. It is going to make it weigh a little bit more, but it's going to give it more longer life. Give you a little bit longer life. And because it's a super soft foam, it's very nice on the skin. You can have this as your backing. I usually recommend getting something called headliner from Joann Fabrics. It's what they put on the top of your car. Make it all nice and soft for your head. But with this, you don't have to. So I can just take whatever scraps I have of this and put behind my hard armor. And it's all nice and soft and I don't get any of those fun bruises you sometimes get from the connectors. I'm notorious. My Loki helm, my Angela helms, multiple, my Athena helm, they leave bruises where the connectors are to the wigs. I've been recently putting this, especially the 1/2 inch bit, around my connectors, and I haven't had any problems since. Okay, so we all know cosplay is kind of expensive. I am not proud about how much I've spent in my lifetime. Just don't do the math, don't do the math. But with these, the price is not that bad, honestly. So a 300 gram of foam clay over in Arctic Canada is about $25 Canadian. They have a sale going on right now. Don't ask me to do the math on the conversion. Just have Google do that for you. When it comes to the LED foam, if you want a 40 by 40 inch piece, it all comes in 1/4 inch thickness. It is, I have it written on here on my phone. It's $25 for a 40 by 40 inch piece. And if you want a 40 by 80 inch piece, which got me through a whole Thor suit of armor, Diablo 3 wizard build, and Mercy, it's about $50. And when it comes to the L200, for 1/4 inch, 38 by 48, it's $15, and the same price for the 1/2 inch. So it's not that expensive. It's about the same price point as if you go to the store and buy like craft foam mats. It's just a different way to work. It's the same way to work with this as like, am I going to use silk or am I going to use spandex? I'm going to be spending about the same price. Just there's different tips and tricks and rules to learn about it. It's just finicky in different ways. Now, when it comes to the price of things, good luck. So, we're going to have all the information to get these things right at the bottom, as well as links to my tutorials and my in-depth talking about how to work with things, and especially how to light a lot of these things. So go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit that bell so that you know when we make new content. And please let me know if you've made anything with this material, if you plan on doing it, if you have any questions. And if you want us to review any more new amazing things in the cosplay world, please let us know. Okay guys, have a great day.